Welcome to another edition of Just Unsecure Cybersecurity series, where we explore key topics in information and cybersecurity, focusing on Africa and the world. I'm Babz, and with me as usual.
Happy to see you all.
It's great to see you all. Before we go ahead, always remember, subscribe. In this series, we're going to be introducing someone known as Zach. Who's Zach? Zach is a principal security consultant with over 26 years in IT and 16 years dedicated to cybersecurity. Zach is not just an ordinary cybersecurity person. He's an expert in security architecture and security by design principles, delivering robust solutions across government, finance, telecoms, and more. With certifications like CISA, SABSA, and CISM, again, we'll tell you the full meaning in the show. And a deep knowledge of standards such as ISO27001, GDPR, Zach brings a wealth of experience to every project. Are you ready to learn from a true cybersecurity strategist?
I am.
That's for the viewers. The viewers must be ready.
Yeah, okay. I'm ready to learn. I'm excited to bring Zach in. So let's what
are we waiting for? Now let's hear from Zach himself.
Hello, Zach.
Hello, guys. How are you doing today?
Fine, great. And yourself?
I'm pretty well. Thank you for bringing me into your program today.
Zach, have you noticed Zach has not changed a bit? Remember that time that he was an auditor?
Everybody tells me that I haven't changed. But if you look at me properly, you can see white hair somewhere on my face.
As they say in Africa, that's a sign of wisdom.
Indeed.
Or good living.
Indeed. Absolutely. So I think Babz have made an attempt to introduce you. And I think maybe, I don't know how well he has done. I don't know. So I will give you the platform right now to introduce yourself to everyone. So that at least they get to know you. Nobody else can say anything about you, about yourself.
Thank you very much. Zach Anucha is my name. I am a principal security consultant at CGI, which is a very global organization and a good place to work. A company that I've been working for over the past nearly 10 years, and the very first company that I've worked for this long. As a principal consultant, it means that I do very many high-level things, and I also am interested in helping others to succeed, mentoring. I have quite a number of certifications, like Babz said, but usually it is not the certification that actually matters. It is how you make use of accumulated experience, wisdom, and knowledge, and how you keep yourself up to date in order to be able to meet the current and evolving challenges which we find in the cybersecurity space. I started working in IT long ago, as you said, 26 years. But it was, I would say, by accident. Accident because I started off by doing a study in logistics and transportation, and I got a job after that, and only to discover that in a distribution center environment, the culture there and the work environment was what I would describe as toxic. And in order to save myself and maintain my sanity, I decided to resign after 15 months working there. And Then I went back to using my what we call bookkeeping and accounting skills to do agency work. It was while I was doing that agency work and looking for a different kind of job in logistics and transportation, but not finding. That was when I decided to make use of the IT components of the Masters in Logistics and Transportation. So I bought my own computer, installed Microsoft Office 97 on it, and bought a book and started. That book is step by step from page one until you get to the end, by which time you probably would have mastered what you are studying. And that was exactly what I did. By the time I got to page 366, I still remember that page. I was ready and to seek my first job in IT. And I got a job as Access Database Administrator
Wow.
in 1998. And then from then up till now, I have remained in IT from access management into networking because I invested money in learning networking. During those days, it was Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer was a very highly recognized networking and skills and certification. So I finished that and then started work in networking. And then from networking, I discovered security in the process. And that was really an exciting discovery, I must tell you. I was working for the third company since I started working in IT. And in there, I was senior infrastructure security analyst when I started there. And as I was reading the project documentation, because the data center they were building was based on a project they had. And that project was based on what is called BS7799, which was the precursor of ISO27001. Yeah. So I read what the project background was. That led me to finding and reading ISO BS7799, it was called. And that fired me up to go into security. But then I could not get the security training funded from my employer because either they did not have the funding or it was not part of their policy. And they said they weren't going to fund me. And I did what I do best. And anyone listening can make note of this. What I do best is that I am a self-made person. I have studied and know how to get anything I want through studying. And therefore, I told this guy that I would do this training, do the exam, and show you the certificate. And that was exactly what I did. And from then on, I have been working in cybersecurity over the past 16 years.
That's quite a journey.
Yeah, that's a journey to emulate. I mean, for me, inspiring because, like you said, it's part of what everybody that wants to be in cybersecurity feels to understand that sometimes you need to challenge yourself and sometimes you need to do certifications or go for self-study, self-improvement, which you've just pointed out. And you said it in a glance, but you've got different certifications. You've got CISSP, you've got SABSA,
That's
you've
right.
got CISM. Which of these certifications dominate your role? Like from a strategic consulting role, others want to go into this role. Which of these certifications dominate that area?
Because I work more in security architecture, SABSA is a very good one. However, SABSA is unique because it operates in the area of business consulting, business processes linked or mapped to security, so that the organization is taking care of the crown jewel of their business, right from top to bottom. But as you know, CISSP is a worldly renowned certification, broad-based in its remit. The knowledge, common body of knowledge, which they developed way back in 1992, before they even started the CISSP in 1994. So the skills and experience and the technical competence that you get from that enables me to do very well. And one thing that is part of me is that I have a broad-based, because of those certifications, I have broad-based skills and competencies and experience. Therefore, I'm able to fall into any aspects of IT consulting, but specializing in security architecture is a very interesting aspect of all of it. So, to answer your question directly, CISSP for me is the top, and CISM that brings broader knowledge into security BAU aspects of operations, that and governance, which is part of it, and risk management. Those are key aspects. I tell people who I mentor that everything we do in cybersecurity is all about risk management. And therefore, CISM plays a very critical role in that. And again, something to share. The technical background that I started off with, plus the governance, risk, and compliance, has made it really very interesting for me to be able to dissect security requirements and be able to map them to the critical project factors that must be addressed, and design the security controls and security processes and principles that will guide the entire operation in order to make it what SABSA calls traceability, to traceable from the top, the business strategic point of view, down to where it is implemented, so that it answers the questions that the organization want to know answers to with regard to the security posture of the organization.
Thank you, Zach. If you observe Zach, there's this auditor part of him that remember dates. You know, when he was talking about CSSP said 1992 before. So you don't want to be in the room with Zach, and then you don't have all your papers correct, and you don't have your dates
I
correct.
can remember.
You miss it.
Yeah, the good old NIMSI.
Yeah. Part of not to rake the line you're tolling on that conversation about being a consultant. The question that comes to mind to follow that up is, what differentiates a modern cybersecurity consultant from a traditional, security manager? Sometimes these lines could be blurred.
Yeah, there is a blurred line there, as you said. But if you like, the differentiation is based on what we popularly know, I'm sure you know about it, what is called digital transformation. The security consultant, modern security consultant, in my view, operates within the realms or the space of the digital. Many organizations and government And in fact, every conceivable organization have gone digital in the past 10, 15, 20 years. And that has, because of them going digital, the threats coming to the digital, around the digital, has become really very fast and evolving and become really very dangerous to organizations. And therefore, security consultant, in my view and in my experience, spend a lot of time doing projects, thinking about how to implement principles, controls, processes, administrative and technical, to be able to protect what I will call the crown jewels assets of the organization, which are digitally available. And you know that digitization also has made it possible for threats to reach you from anywhere in the world. And
Absolutely.
therefore, it becomes much more critical for consultants who, in my view, are really very talented and have a lot of skills and are also keeping themselves up to date to the emerging and ever expanding threat landscape. On the other hand, the traditional security manager takes care of the infrastructure, takes care of the security operations and processes, incident management, and business continuity, and all of those key aspects, governance, risks, which without them, the organization will not know and be able to have visibility of the security posture at any point in time. But more importantly, also, so much regulatory and legal compliance landscape requirements that people in organizations have to meet. And security manager is at the forefront of coordinating and making sure that the governance aspect of things and keeping the service running securely is going on. And being a consultant for a very long time now, I also see that I can fall into both ways. Like, for example, I work as principal security consultant, but that's my job title. But operationally, I work as a security architect and a security manager. So bringing to the role, both from the digital aspect and also from security management aspect, combined together, operational combined together. That's the way I've been operating for quite a while now.
That's a good one. I'll follow with this obvious question, perhaps if you allow me. It's an obvious question in any organization. You know, by the time an organization gets a consultant, the sense of probably the management or some other people in the organization is like, yeah, we just need consultants, we don't need managers. What do you say?
Well, if I may answer that question, any organization needs both. Because the consultant, unless he is operating the way that I'm operating, and not many consultants do that, then they can occupy both sides of the role. However, because there are projects that a consultant needs to focus on, again, another key word when it comes to consultant is advisory. They are there to take a strategic look of the processes and security landscape of the organization and advise on the best technical and operational security controls that can be implemented in order to protect the organization. Therefore, to spend your lifetime doing security management is, to say the least, not the most attractive thing that a security consultant should be doing. And therefore, an organization to operate at a maximum protection, maximum regulatory compliance, and or the like, they need both roles running side by side. That's my view.
Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Yeah, you need both sides, either consultants or in-house security managers. I would go back to a question that is dear to me. We have this shall I say AI, we have cloud security, we have modern enterprise, macro service. Which of these certifications would one say aligns best and fits best in general? Because you have also the CCSP, the CCSK, you have the CISS. Which one do you think, if one does, can, should I say, not cover all, but is more, should I say, covers the base for everything, and you're sure the person knows what he or she is doing after they've gotten the certification?
As a consultant.
As a consultant. Okay. my reaction to that is the fact that each of the certifications, the one from IC Square, which is CISSP, and CISM from iZach, and they are all geared towards meeting all of the requirements. They are specifically better in one aspect where they specialize, like iZach, specializing in audit and security governance, risk management, and all of that. However, if you see what is going on, AI has always been around, and we do a lot of what we call break and learn in CGI. And a number of presentations on break and learn has emphasized or made a point that AI is not new. People have been using machine learning to do stuff. It is only that, as you know, the Gartner's what is it called?
Quadrant.
Hype cycle. Yeah, the hype cycle. So over the past year, AI had become the hype cycle, and it is making real progress. And every organization, government is emphasizing on the benefits of AI, as well as highlighting the risks and taking steps to be able to set it up in such a way that we reap the benefit, but not forget the threats that they are going to contribute to continually expand. Therefore, each of these organizations have started to come up with AI certifications, not degrees. But universities are also coming up with AI degrees. So everyone is talking AI. So the mainstream security organization, the three we are talking about, each of them has something to offer in terms of the fact that the security knowledge base that they already have include controls, processes, and methodologies for protecting the organization. Those controls will not go away in the face of AI. In fact, they remain the background, the foundation for defending even threats that AI is creating, making organizations to really face, or expanding threat that AI will contribute to. So each of them will offer something in the way they are beginning to create knowledge and certifications to enable people to understand what is going on. But that is not to the neglect or exclusion of existing things that we do to protect organizations. That's my view.
So
That's simple. It's a very valid point in my. But now I'll ask a follow up question. In the three certifications, which one? Because some people just read, go and sit the exam, and by luck pass.
Yeah.
which of these three? Which of these three do you think is hard to fake?
Hard to fake. That's a very, very interesting question. The way I would start in answering that question is, why would somebody want to fake a security certification, for goodness sake? Anyway, for CISSP and CISM, for example, we do what is called CPE.
Yeah.
And we also pay annual certificate renewal and membership fees. Therefore, if you allow your certification to expire and you claim that you still are certified, then you can easily be found out. And so for me, those two will be relatively difficult to fake because you can be found out, and there is a religious book, the Bible, which you can find a statement that your sin will find you out. So that sin with unethical behavior will be found out, and your reputation will be compromised. Well, addressing the same question for SABSA, we don't do CPEs. I haven't been doing CPEs, and I have not been asked to do one since I passed the SABSA. Maybe that might be the one that you can easily say. But however, any success in doing that will depend upon how much skills do you have, how much experience do you have, how much knowledge of network infrastructure, how much knowledge of security architecture, and all of those that will enable you to successfully defend the fraud or faking a security certification. Without that, it is impossible to do even for any of those. That's my view.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with that very last statement. Even if you legitimately pass all the exams, you're good at it, you probably, maybe you fought your way through, or even you read through. What will really prove your worth as a consultant is when you get in front of the client.
Indeed.
Exactly. Exactly.
Indeed.
And you have to keep that lie up until you get in front of someone that knows what he's doing. If you get to an organization that they don't have the skill, they don't have the experience, of course, you can bamboozle your way in. But if that is not, I will ask a follow-up question on that.
Go ahead.
None of us are an epitome of knowledge. We don't know it all. Technology changes, transforms. How do you handle that gap when you are in front of a customer? Let's say you don't know about something and you get in front of it as a consultant, an advisor that everybody trusts. How do you handle your knowledge gap with the customer?
Thinking about it, the start of the response will be that before you appear before a customer, you have prior information about their requirements. Unless if it is an ad hoc meeting, you met somebody and you are talking, you introduce yourself, and then they begin to ask you something. But normally, usually, you will know something that you will have a prior appointment. For me, what I do is, if based upon the requirements that is before me, the business requirement, the security requirements, or regulatory requirements, or whatever it is that the organization, I will be talking through with the organization. What I'll do is identify my gaps and do a quick research on them and be prepared on how to defend myself. And based upon years of experience as well, I will be able to identify when a question has come which I do not have full answer. The best policy I have learned and which we promote is to be upfront with the client and say, this is an area which is very interesting and I don't have the full information at the moment. Let me go back and look into this and I'll get back to you. That will be a much more credible response, a much more sensible and trustworthy relationship building exercise with the client than trying to bamboozle yourself through and saying, and then somebody will identify that, yeah, what he was saying doesn't make sense, and therefore erode the trust that should be between the consultant and the client. So yeah, whereas I will not dismiss that a situation like that will occur, but having experience, having some preparation will enable you to be able to foot the bill.
Fantastic. I think that's a lot for consultants to learn, because sometimes you come with a chip on your shoulder that you probably know it all, and a curveball is thrown at you, and you will be tempted to say something. Now, I like the way the approach that you bring, and this is a lesson for some of our viewers or our subscribers to really learn how to handle such a situation. Thank you, Zach. Go
I
ahead.
think it's mostly keep calm under pressure.
Yes.
Keep calm under pressure.
But remember also that when you are before the client, you are seen as a trusted expert.
Exactly. Yeah.
And therefore, you don't have to mess that up at all. Go ahead and advise and make suggestions, encourage, and supply all the requirements that you can at that point in time in order to continue to remain before the client in their mind as a trusted expert that you should be. That is the only way to build credibility.
Absolutely. I want to dive into SABSA because I'm thinking, just by talking to you now, I'm thinking I'm going to be looking into SABSA because SABSA is not mainstream. So what unique perspective does it give a consultant? I'm not planning on being a consultant yet, in case some of my colleagues are watching this.
I like the word yet.
What unique perspective does it give a consultant that all the major certifications, though I'm already CISSP, CISM, CCSK certified. So it's SABSA is, it looks like a unique area one should be in. But what does it give from a consultancy perspective that the others don't?
SABSA is, it places itself in a niche. And that niche is mapping business requirements to security requirements and security strategy of the organization. And it emphasizes enterprise security architecture. It pays more attention to risk management in terms of the different layers of security architecture. And that architecture has to do with the business architecture, the engineering architecture, and you're now making me to think about the different components of SABSA, which I have not prepared for this training. But they have different layers, which, as I mentioned earlier on in one of my responses, traceability, starting from the strategic level of the organization, what the business is expecting from its security operators, security experts, will be to be able to map into the understanding of the business, the commercial, the regulatory, the external environment, and the internal strategies that can match together in order to be able to begin to walk along the strategic path that the business is charting for itself. And then how to infuse, if you like, or embed security in each of the layers so that from the top down to the bottom, security can be traced and be visible so that it is known that we have taken care of the risk management, the controls that we need, and the strategic aspects of the business requirements have all been taken care of. So that is where SABSA sits. Even though the like of CISA, CISSP, and CISM, they do security strategy, and they do mapping of security to be in sync with the business strategy. They do that very well, but SABSA want to excel in it in terms of enterprise security architecture. That's where they sit. And over the years, it started off with John Sherwood in 1995 as a one-man effort. And then he built it. And over the years, it has evolved to become well received across the globe as dealing with the aspects of the organizational protection that I have just gone through. I hope that helps.
It helps me. I'll be looking into it ASAP.
You've got a convert already, so
go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. A quick question, right?
Yes.
I know consulting is really somebody. I was reading something recently, and someone said like one of the things that probably AI will not replace almost immediately are consultants. I don't know how true that is, but looking at that, I want you to help. Like, okay, what is in the new sense of AI right now? What are the role of consultants? Will consultant be replaced? Then the second thing is, if someone wants to start off as a consultant, follow-up question to that, what will a young Zach advise?
Okay, let me start with the first one. I do not think that AI will replace a consultant. I give you an example of a recent experiment that I made. I wrote a number of things, very large documents in sections. I believed this is my own personal project. So I believe that I have met the requirement. What I was writing is there is a requirement, and you have to describe how you have met that requirement. So I've written quite a whole lot of that, and I passed it through AI, and AI said to me, yes, what you've written is excellent. You've met all the requirements. Okay. Excitedly, I asked my mentor. Apparently, I do have a mentor. If you like to know,
Wow.
I asked my mentor to review what I've written. He came up with the point that, Zach, you have missed the plot because you have not followed the methodology, the model that you should have followed in answering these questions. Then I said to myself, why did Mr. AI tell me that I excelled? So the moral of the question is AI would not replace the judgment of a human being, no matter what we do to train it to do so, which is the reason why it is emphasized in AI training and in the various laws that are coming up, European and US, and the UK is taking a more pragmatic approach without having enacted any legislation concerning AI. Each of those is emphasizing that you need to validate the output you get from AI, check the ethical aspect of that, check the human sense of that, check how it impacts on the human, social, and other elements of human interaction and business interaction, human intelligence fed into business processes and interaction. You need to confirm those and make sure that the output you've got makes sense before you accept it. Therefore, I don't see AI replacing consultants. Instead, what it will do is to train more consultants who use their consulting expertise to make AI better, AI output better, and so that the risk of the output to various aspects of life, business and social, ethical, medical, and all of that will be sustainable. That is the current emphasis concerning AI. Yes, it offers a lot of benefit, but we need to check the output and make sure that it is trained properly and not to discriminate against certain people groups and so forth and so on, so that we are sure that we are minimizing the risk. Like in information security, you cannot protect everything. There is nothing like 100% security.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot afford it. It is not possible. It is too complicated. The same thing with AI. You cannot have AI with only benefits. There are quite a lot of downside of it, but human intervention input will help reduce the impact of those within the business and the people and the environment. That's what I think.
Yeah. So
now, your second question was, what will a young Zach advise? Advise in what sense? Can you expand?
Yeah. So a young Zach wants to get into consulting in cybersecurity.
Okay.
So and I
Faster,
know
quicker. Magic word.
I know. And what I would say is get education. By education, I mean learn something about, study computer science, study aspects of IT in wherever you can do it, from secondary school up to the university level, if you can do that, and then get to know the technical aspect of things and the role that risk management plays. Again, I mentioned earlier on that everything we do in consultancy is risk management. And so once you know all of these things, then begin to seek the appropriate opportunity to be able to enter into the field of work that will enable you to become a consultant. And I also found out that consultancy is not something that people just launch into unless if you are being recruited by one of the big four, and they place you, and then you begin from the bottom and begin to learn and grow as a consultant. And what we do in CGI also is to recruit people from A levels, and they are working and then studying, so that by the time they finish their degree, they will have practical experience, and then they begin to build in their career on
Okay.
consultancy. So basically, what I'm saying is that yes, get the basics. However, I did an MBA not long ago, and I did my dissertation on skills gap. One thing I discovered, which I have published a number of articles, well, at least one article on LinkedIn, is that there is this thing, chicken and egg. A lot of people have gone through the training from education, and also they have certification, but simply because they have not got the experience. They are the largest number of people in the job market, both in the UK and other places. So you need the experience in order to get a job, but you don't have the experience without getting a job.
Yeah.
And therefore, they are caught in between. So what I'm saying is that people don't just go out there and recruit consultants. They recruit people who already have experience in a job and who can now bring in that experience to offer advisory services to people based on the technical knowledge they have, skills and experience they have, and therefore they are able, because consulting firms, they make their money, they're in business because of the knowledge base in the head of the consultants they have employed, and therefore they are always willing to develop the consultant and offer incentives for them to be able to continue to grow and keep their knowledge current. So basically, look for internship. That will be the best way to start. If not, gather the experience, do mentoring, and volunteer in order to get some experience which you can place in your CV. And with that, you will be able to persuade somebody to employ you at a lower level, and then you build up. A bit complicated, but that's how the real world is.
I
Wow.
appreciate
We
that. Go
we
ahead.
couldn't have ended in a better note than that. I think as in whoever is watching this is watching a master class all in 60 minutes,
Less than.
because less than an hour. So I would, all the viewers watching this right now, you know, if you're not clued up after this, you better go and learn, rewatch it, rewind and watch again, because you will not get a better opportunity to hear from a masterclass in cybersecurity. Mr. Zach is well grounded and knows his onions. Proof, tested,
Thank you.
tried. Is he knows what he's talking about. Oh,
Ab-
oh.
Absolutely. Just to wrap this up, if anybody wants to lay hold of you, where should they look for Mr. Zach?
I think the most popular location to look out for me is the LinkedIn. I have my LinkedIn profile, and people can just Google Zach Anucha, and then they will be able to. And of course, I guess many people who will be wanting to do that will already be in LinkedIn, and they can search within there to get hold of
Uh,
me. Um, yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zach. Thank you for coming aboard. I'm practically taking some notes, and really thank you for taking that time out. I know your time is per hour. We cannot afford to pay you now, but we are privileged to bring you to other people as a consultant. We're looking forward to connecting with you, and also our community will also connect with you much later. Thank you so much, Mr. Zach.
thank
Bye.
you very much. It's been a pleasure. Bye bye.
Same
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you. Wow. Oh, that's amazing. That's one for the Star Archives. I think Zach gave us a run through of being a consultant, the certificates you need, the inspiration you need, the hard work you need, the education you need, the different parts of how to get into cybersecurity and being a consultant. I think this is one for the record books.
Absolutely. It's the one to watch and rewatch and listen carefully and take notes. I really appreciate you, Zach, for doing that. So for everyone, thank you for joining.
See you all for our next show. But remember, don't forget to subscribe and spread the word. JU to the world. Thank you all.
Thank
See you
you.
later.